Hello, and welcome to I Hate Talking, a podcast about talking, including etymology, frustrating topics, current events, and other random subjects. I'm Adam.
And I'm Steph. We are married, and we invite you into these discussions with us as we talk about the good and the bad of talking.
We hope you enjoy today's episode. Welcome to episode 107 of I Hate Talking.
Hi, everyone.
So our word or phrase of this episode will be a word, and it is the word delve.
Delve? Like, let's delve into this?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say no.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to check the exact definition, but it seems that this word, delve, has replaced the phrase dive in.
Okay. Yeah, I believe it, because even when I said that, the second I saw your face, I was like, oh, no, it's dive. It's dive in. You're going to correct me. But I was correct, and for some reason, that was my first instinct, was delve in.
Yes.
I delved into it.
Yes, dive in, maybe correct for now, but it seems that delve is overtaking dive in.
Okay, well, tell me about it, because I know delve, and that's the phrase I would use. Is it like a cultural or a linguistic area?
No, it's actually AI.
Oh, okay.
So it seems like this podcast we talk about AI quite frequently.
Lately, yeah.
Nonetheless,
but we aren't AI.
That we know of. I guess it depends if you subscribe to the simulation theory or not.
Like Severed? Oh, that's such a good show.
No, more
I
like
can't wait for it to come back.
No, more like The Matrix probably would be a better movie show description.
Which
of
is your favorite?
The theory of
AI.
Not AI.
Delve and dive.
No. Simulation theory.
Oh, okay.
Severed is borderline simulation theory, I suppose.
It's a good show, though.
But it's not simulated environment, right? You're still in your physical environment. You're just in a different mind.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, the theory on delve and how that has become more popular is from a short clip that I saw of a larger podcast, and I have not looked up that podcast, so perhaps we can find it afterwards to give appropriate credit and maybe even watch the entire episode rather than just a clip. But this particular guest on this podcast cites that AI, specifically generative chat AI and large language models, prefer words with Greek or Latin roots, and it will actually substitute more common language that comes from other etymologies like Germanic or French or some of the different English mashups that we've discussed in previous episodes, and it will therefore replace those words or phrases with these less used Greek and Latin words, delve being one of them.
Okay. So, two things. First, we kind of joked about being AI, but you definitely prefer Greek and Latin, right?
I do. Maybe I will side with AI on this one. And once we look at the definition and etymology, I will perhaps be a proponent of using delve. But I think dive in is a more commonly used and probably better understood phrase.
If you have a pool.
No, like if we want to dive into this topic.
Yeah, because you're like on the edge of the pool and you jump in. You dive into it.
I guess maybe we'll do a 2-for-1 and we'll look at the etymology and definition of the phrase dive in as well.
We'll really dive into this topic?
See, I have hesitancy about using it as like a pure verb. Let's delve in. Like I could see it more as a past participle or something. Like we are going to, or we delved in.
We really delved into that topic. Is how I'd use it.
Yeah, I think that would be correct, but it still seems a little bit stutter step for me.
Unfortunately, now I feel like I'm biased one way or another. But if I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, I think if I'm using the phrase, I'd say Okay, everyone, let's dive in. Like, let's do it present tense right now, jump in. Or if I'm talking about to a friend, like, hey, we posted this podcast, we really delved into that topic. Meaning, like, so I think I use it past tense, delve in.
I guess. I would probably be more comfortable using it as a future. Like, we will delve into this topic.
No, that doesn't sound right. We'll dive in. We'll dive in.
We will dive into this topic.
But we did really dived into that. That doesn't sound right, right?
Well, it's because it's dove.
Oh. Really dove into that topic. That still doesn't sound right. I understand you. Right. Okay, it's not dived in. It's dove in. But both of those don't sound right. We delve into it.
I suppose so.
Okay.
Well, let's see what our new favorite American Heritage Dictionary has to say about this. Right. So they defined delve as a verb, and it actually has 4 different definitions. And one of those definitions actually has 3 sub-definitions. So okay. Quite a bit to delve into here. So number 1, to search deeply or laboriously, as in delve through the court records.
Okay.
So that's something that's a little bit different because you're almost like going through a sorting, and that probably would not really fit with dive in.
That's more like digging into, right? I think that's very adjacent.
Right.
Like dive in, like let's jump in and do this. Where if you're like sorting through something, you're digging through something.
There you go.
Does that make sense? Or
that does make sense.
Okay.
So maybe that's actually a pro for using dive or dig.
Okay.
And then definition number 2 has 3 different sub-definitions. So 2A, to research or make inquiries into something. So scientists delving into gene regulation is the example.
Okay.
2B, to undertake an activity or occupation undeterred by difficulty or uncertainty. They delved into writing a blog.
Okay.
2C, to discuss or explain something, especially in detail. The article delves into the problems facing the banking system.
Okay.
3, to enter or move into an area in which movement is difficult.
Why is that 3? Isn't that 4? You just give us 4. Because I'm tracking in my head how many.
There's 1, 2A, 2B, 2C.
Oh,
3.
A, B, and C. Okay. Oh, my numbers are messed up now. Okay. So 3A is?
To enter or move into an area in which movement is difficult. The explorers delved into the forest.
Okay.
And then 4 is to dig the ground as with a spade, which comes from a archaic use of the word to dig. So there you go.
If I'm hearing those, now I might have messed these up because there's like A's and B's mixed in with 1, 2, 3s. But 2B to me seemed like the proper, you could swap dive. Like jump in, there's a pool of water, jump in, full body, get covered with water. Every other one, 1, 2A, 3, and 4, to me all seem like dug is more appropriate. Like you were digging, like you're searching for something and you're like hands only looking through a bunch of dirt to try to get to a topic. Does that sound right to you? Do you agree with that? That the 2A. Oh, no.
Yeah, so research or make inquiries into something.
Is which one?
2A.
2A. Yes. So 2B is like full body, I'm in it. Because once you dive into a pool,
right,
you are literally over your head in water. You can't dive in unless it's really shallow and then you're really hurt, right? So diving in means you're fully in, over your head. Entire body's committed to this. But if you're digging, you can go as deep as you want and still not get fully into it.
I suppose so.
So I feel like out of those 5 you gave, 4 of them were more into digging as far as you want to go, where 1 was a full commitment.
Yes, I suppose so.
So I
See,
don't know where I'm going with that. I'm
I
just
don't
saying
know
those are
either.
different.
They are different.
So
But
in
delve
those,
could cover both of them.
but for those, delve seems more intense. 4 out of 5 times delve was used more appropriately for
Dig.
dig.
Yes. Which makes sense because that is the origin of the word delve. So now I'm questioning these podcasters that had this clip because I did take it at face value. It made sense that like AI is going to prefer Greek and Latin. And maybe I misunderstood, but I'm pretty sure I did not because their particular hypothesis is that AI prefers to sound smart. And if you use words with Greek or Latin roots, that those will typically be quote unquote smarter sounding words. But it seems that the word delve does not actually have any Greek or Latin roots, and that it came from English, Old English, and then previously to that, Old High German and Old Norse.
Like Nordic? Like Norway?
Nordic, yes, Norse.
Okay.
So the word delve, as we use it in the modern English, comes from the Old English delphin, which means to dig, and that it is related to similar words in other Germanic languages, where in German it is Telban and in Norse Delpha. And then it typically referred to the physical act of digging in the 12th century, and then over time took on more metaphorical meanings representing thorough investigation or research.
Mm-hmm. So it is more about digging than diving.
Yes. So their comparison was not even completely accurate because they were comparing dive in versus delve. And really, it would be more appropriate to compare dig in and delve.
I'll ask my AI right now on live which they think it is. Does it come from dig or does it come from dive? Let's see what they say.
Okay. DELVE.
Okay, this is what Gemini says. You ready?
Okay.
My question prompt for Gemini was, does delve in come from dive in or dug in? And it says the phrase delve in is most closely related to delve, which comes from the Old English word delvin, meaning to dig. Well, delve in, dive in, and dug in all share a sense of immersion and getting into something deep. They have distinct origins and nuance. One, delve is Old English. To delve literally means to spade over the earth. There's a whole bunch of stuff I'm going to skip down. 2, dive in suggests a quick head first plunge, referring to a task with high energy or enthusiasm, like diving in a pool. Or 3, dug in, which usually implies a state of being firmly established or resistance to change.
Interesting. So it uses dig in as sort of taking a firm position on something.
Mm-hmm. Which you've heard, right? Like, he really dug in his
Heels.
I was going to say, what is
feet.
that?
Yeah.
What do you say? You say something, right? Like, he really dug into that.
Right.
Meaning, like, they're not changing their minds.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, so that is what my Gemini says, which is very different than what the people you were saying AI says. Because Gemini is AI. But what is your duck? Ask Duck? What's it called?
DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo. Okay, by the way, when I had never heard of that in my life until a couple podcasts ago when you mentioned it. Afterwards, I asked the kiddos, like, do you know what Google Search Dad uses? And all of them said they use DuckDuckGo. I didn't even have to tell them which one it was. I was
There
like,
you go.
what?
I'm proud of them.
So, without a shadow of a doubt, they instantly said DuckDuckGo.
Without even you prompting them.
No, I just said, do you know which one Dad likes best?
There you go.
I didn't even know it existed. And the very following day, all 4 of them admitted that's the search engine they use.
Well, there you go. At least I'm doing something right as a dad. So, American Heritage Dictionary does not have an entry for the phrase dive in. It obviously has dive. So, if we skip down to Cambridge Dictionary, because we no longer have access to our old favorite English language dictionary, Cambridge Dictionary defines dive in as to start something suddenly and energetically, often without stopping to think.
Right, I guess which makes sense. My Gemini was saying like jumping in quickly with enthusiasm, which isn't how I would have described it. But Gemini saying, yeah, like with enthusiasm quickly, right? You're doing this, and yours is saying doing it without thinking.
Yes, suddenly, energetically. Well, I can't even say that. What?
You said it right. Energetically.
Energetically.
Yeah, I think you said it fine.
I don't think so.
But it's probably just a personality trait. But anytime I've attempted to dive in, it's not ever energetic. Oh no, now you're messing me up. Energetically or without thinking. I'm always on the end of the diving board contemplating it for longer than socially appropriate.
Yes. So I think the podcast people in the clip are majorly wrong in this.
Wait. So you're saying podcasts can be wrong sometimes?
I think so.
No.
Because they were saying that delve was from Greek and Latin. They were saying that delve is used in place of dive in. But as we've done during the course of this discussion, dive in is more with the approach of how you do something, not necessarily what you are doing. Okay. Now, I still think you can use the phrase dive in as like you're going to look deeply into something and do a lot of research, but that actually is not the correct definition, apparently.
I mean, if we're using it as like enthusiastically, saying like, all right, next week we'll dive into this. Like, we're excited. We're going to do this, right? But in general, yes, I agree. It's not what they were saying. But we're not going to call them out, are we? Because I don't want to get rivals in the podcast world.
Well, I don't know. That's how people get famous in the podcast world, I guess.
I know. I guess it's like that question, right? We will not get into it on here. But we've had a personal issue where we're like, how far do we get involved in this? Because it does not affect us. But also, we have an opinion in our personal life. So it's like that. These podcasters, we can just live on with our lives, right? Like, are we obligated to warn people that they're wrong? Or just let them do their thing?
I'll have to go back and watch the clip, but like they patently are incorrect. If they said that delve is from Greek and Latin, it's like not true at all.
Have you ever listened to them before?
No, it was just a clip.
Oh, okay. Because there's a YouTuber I've been super into lately. He is called Elephants in Room. And he goes into hot button topics. He always tries to be unbiased, but he also will say when a bias comes up. And every podcast or YouTube episode, he always says, hey, look, if I messed up or got the facts wrong, let me know. And if it's egregious, I will pin it here below. So at least that's good for him, right? Like he admits that he does have bias. He's trying not to. Everyone has a bias. And he is trying not to be. But if he messed up or has a bias or whatnot, he will address it. Do they have a bias? Are they one of them that's willing to listen to correction or listen to an alternative viewpoint? Or is it just pointless? And they're going to spew whatever information they have. And hopefully people don't listen.
Or it aligns with their biases, as it did with mine, because I was already thinking that AI is changing language and the words that people use because of generative chat AI. So the particular podcasters that I was listening to in this clip aligned with my bias against AI, because I was thinking that it is eroding the use of words and everything.
So AI knows you hate AI, and so they're giving you fake AI saying AI is wrong and directing you to correct AI.
There was a lot of AI in there. I don't know.
But do you follow the track? So AI is following you, and they say, oh, he doesn't trust us. Let's tell him these quote unquote people also don't trust AI. And then he's going to find out the people are wrong and the AI is right all along. And then he's going to love AI.
Maybe so. So I've been looking for the podcast and the clip. I cannot find it immediately, but I did find an article on Medium from May of 2024. And basically, this is an article about how a particular PhD found that the frequency of the word delve in PubMed articles since the end of 2022 has increased by approximately 400%, which coincides with the rise of ChatGPT, end quote. So it has a bar graph on there, and it shows that it was hardly used through the 1900s, saw a slight uptick in the early 2000s, and then basically did skyrocket on around 2022, 2023, and 2024.
That's when AI got popular? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, that's when generative chat bots became a little bit better at actually generating responses.
Is there any difference in linguistics with area? Because I know this doesn't sound nice, but it is true, y'all. Right? The fact that was not planned. The fact I said y'all, right? Like, where we live now, where we used to live, all y'all was a very big comment. And I say it here in our new place, and I'm called out on it. All y'all is not a phrase here. Right? And I love the South, y'all, so I'm not trying to say anything. But people tend to think you're highly educated if you speak like an Englander, right? Or like the British. And so I feel like delve would be much more British and high education than saying dug in, which it would seem to be more maybe Southern. And I love the South. That's where we've lived for so long, and I was heartbroken to move, right? So, like, does that make sense? Is it more of a cultural
classes?
Yeah. Is it like a cultural class? Like delve. I delved into it. Sounds more elite than I dived in.
Right. Well, that was that was the hypothesis of this particular clip, that AI is going to prefer words that sound smarter. So delve falls within that category. And then it therefore either is in more published material because people are leveraging AI to quote unquote write for them, or it could even change the linguistic behavior of the people reading and listening to that content that hear this word more frequently, and then therefore they also use it more frequently. So that's the concern, is that these particular words are not organically being used by people, and that there may be other ones out there. Like delve is, I guess, one of the ones that is cited as like a glaring example. But the theory is that AI is using these preferred words to sound smarter, and therefore is changing the linguistic behavior of normal, everyday human beings.
So they're making up terms to sound smarter, and then we're mimicking it.
Well, not making up words. They're just using less common words.
Okay. But they're not making them up. Okay. And some people are more susceptible. I know I am. That's, we've lived pretty much at this point all around the U.S. and in our 17 years of marriage or whatnot. And I am extremely susceptible to the language of those around me. So probably in a year or so, I'm not going to say all y'all, because that's not said here. And everywhere I go, when I return back to where I was, people comment on my accent and the way I speak is so different. And I know that's a flaw in myself, but also just part of who I am. That I'm very susceptible. As I'm around people a lot, I start mimicking their speech unintentionally, and it's just what I do. I don't think you do that, but I definitely do unintentionally. So I think that I'm thinking about like AI and how they're smart enough to realize that people are going to mimic unintentionally these phrases they use.
Yeah, I think that I will adapt much more quickly to local culture and their phraseology that they use. Even individuals, like I will use words that other people use to communicate better or
You think you do?
fit better in. Yes.
Do you think I do?
No, you're terrible at that.
I just said the exact opposite.
Yeah, but you retain what you have learned for a longer period of time until it changes.
And so you notice it more. Is that the issue? 'Cause I feel like everywhere we go, you're like, why are you saying hot mess? Or why are you saying all these things? And then I'm like, I don't know. 'Cause I'm a hot mess. And then I have to be like, oh, that's what so and so says in those phrases.
I suppose so.
So you think I just mix it all up. So then it's super confusing because I'm speaking like a New Englander and a Southerner and a Californian and a Midwest and like all those.
I think so. Yeah, maybe. I don't
So
know.
that's, you just think that you suddenly jump into whatever culture you are. That's what you speak. Where I do a hodgepodge of everything.
Yes, I've already tabled many Southern phrases that I would have used in the past.
Really? Yeah, okay. But I can't. And I notice when people look at me when I speak Southern. I'm like, oh, whoops.
Yes.
But all y'all is so easy to say.
Well,
It doesn't make sense.
Maybe we'll do that as our word or phrase next time.
I guess
Because
so.
all y'all is different than y'all.
And I don't know when I started saying all y'all. But I know I say it all the time. So I could probably even look back at podcasts and maybe listen to how often I say it. Because it never dawned on me that I say it until moving here. And people look at me and I go, oh, yeah.
Perhaps for our last thing, we'll just check Google Ngram Viewer, because it's been a while since we've used that, to compare dive in, dug in, and delve.
Okay. Are you doing delve or delve in?
Just delve.
Okay, because of my Gemini, I looked up delve in, and they said it comes from delve.
I did dive in, dug in, delve in. Delve in has very little usage, but if I take out the IN, then that is actually a greater usage. So all of them were relatively flat from 1800 to about 1950. There's some variability there, but not as much as the huge increase in the 2000s. So if we zoom in just to 1950 to 2022, which this data goes to, why doesn't it go beyond 2022? Is Google...
It isn't updated it?
No, that's interesting.
That's 4 years. That's a long time.
It's a long time. Maybe that's a conspiracy. They don't want people to be able to see what words have been increased or decreased since the advent of generative chat.
So many conspiracies.
Interesting. So dug in takes a little dip in 1950. Everything else is relatively flat. Delve does increase greatly from the year 2000 to 2022. And then I guess the big spike in 2023 and 2024 will not be in Google Ngram Viewer. But the interesting thing to note is that both dive in and dug in did increase in the early 2000s, not as steeply as delve.
What did people say before that?
There must be another word that...
Let's look into it.
Let's look into it. That's quite...
Research it. Examine it.
Yes, it's probably any of those above.
Those all sound fancier.
Probably can... Yeah, I don't know.
Because our coming of age was around that time. So this is the culture phrasing we would know. You know?
I don't know if I've ever really encountered the word delve until maybe the last few years. I really don't recall seeing that very frequently. Like I've heard it and knew the definition, I suppose, but in terms of the way that it is used today in quite a lot of different contexts, not as much.
Right. It's interesting because I don't know if I've ever read it or experienced it, but when you said it tonight, I instantly knew what it was. So it's kind of one of those, like, I don't know the word, but oh yes, I do know what it means.
Indeed. So perhaps we will talk about y'all or all y'all next time.
That's so weird.
And-
I don't know if you ever said that, though. Do you think you used to say all y'all? Because that sounded weird hearing you say it right now. Or just because you paused.
Yeah, maybe.
So far away from.
Perhaps.
We're
I had
gonna
to
have
actually
go back
think about
to,
it.
2 years ago and hear how you spoke.
I'd
Were you more
I don't know.
Southern back then?
Load all our transcripts into AI, see if I ever said it.
Oh, that's a lot of work.
Well, it'd be less work than reading all of them one by one.
Yes.
So if you enjoyed this delving in, if all y'all enjoyed this delving into the topic, you can always like, share, and subscribe. And maybe we'll dive in to a different topic next time, or we'll dig into a different subject in the future.
Yeah, we'll dig in. Like, I don't know what we'd say. Now I'm so confused. I'm leaving this podcast more confused than when I started.
Well, that might be for the best. We'll just avoid using any of those three phrases from now on.
We'll research it
And find a new word. So, from your friends at I Hate Talking, until next time, remember, it is only through talking that we begin the journey to understanding.